What's up, everyone out in internet land? Okay, now I got to figure out how to log into this because the password was not saved apparently. Um, I was supposed to do open mic last night and didn't. I feel a little bit bad about that. I kind of lost track of it, to be honest. I actually thought I was supposed to do a live stream, and then all of a sudden it snuck up on me, and it's actually time for open mic again. So, but I'm pursuing a little bit of a different angle on open mic now. I'm trying to mix it up and have some of the events will be me just going to a live open mic and broadcasting it as an open mic, and then some of them will be actually having people over here to the studio. I think that this next month I'm going to try to have some guests in the studio, and I'm thinking about it'll either be this one or next one. I'm hoping that is going to be like an all women cast, and I'm looking forward to that, and I'm excited to see just who engages that, and I mean I already have um, people in mind who I think are going to be participating in terms of being here in the studio, but I'm excited to see too just how people engage that, who, you know, y'all that are watching, and hopefully there can be some good questions for them. And yeah, I'm excited. These are the people that I have in mind are some talented singers and songwriters, and so I'm excited for that. So something to look forward to. But I didn't do the podcast last night either because it just got away from me. I just didn't have time to do it. I had a full weekend, and just it's good. I'm busy. I'm working on mastering Nathan Douglas's. What I was going to say third album, but it's not the third. It's like it must be like the seventh or eighth at this point. And there's 30 songs for this one. If you don't know Nathan Douglas, go check out his music at nathandouglasgo.com. He's a songwriter based out of Long Beach, California. I think Seal Beach now, Seal Beach, California. And coincidentally, the album title is Seal Beach Postcard. So go check out his stuff. He writes tons and tons and tons of songs. And if you're a songwriter or an aspiring songwriter, definitely go check it out because even at a minimum, you will be inspired by how much he writes. And I think that's something that anybody can learn from him and take away is to put in the effort of and 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 the diversity with which he writes. So anyway, I'm gonna try to log in here so I can see comments. What was this? I think it's hopefully it's this. All right, now I got to click on these crosswalks. Okay, I'm a real person. Click on all squares with vehicles, and then they have vehicles that like border between, but wrong password or something. Oh no, well this is lame. Okay, for whatever reason, so I've got this app that allows me to view comments consolidated, and then now it just decided to not. It required me to input the password again. So now I get to do this. Restream. I believe it's this. So I'm gonna get through this real quick. All right, we're gonna crosswalks, but I input it wrong. Okay, we're just gonna quit out of Restream. Okay, here we go. I put noahgrove.om instead of .com. All right, so now we gotta do these crosswalks again. Crosswalk, that's a crosswalk, that's a crosswalk. Okay, I think that's it. All right, now bicycles. Bicycle. think that's it. Nope, there's one. All right. Come on. All right, we're good. We're in. All right, so I played a bunch of gigs this weekend, and first of all, like, share, subscribe. Go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like this post, share this post. I aim to put out useful content for anybody that's interested in music, from the perspective of listening to music, or you're just interested in the performance side of things, or anything that's really related to music and music performance. I will talk about things beyond that as well. But I had a full weekend, and I wanted to talk about some of what I learned from the weekend, or just things that come up and different things that I think about as a performer. I made a video when I was driving, just recorded basically audio to try to track an idea. And I want to talk about that briefly here. One of the things, you know what? Let's start with a song. I wrote a new song. I gotta drink some water for it if I'm gonna do this. Actually, maybe I don't want this to be too heady. I've got to go to a gig pretty soon, playing for Benson House. And then we've got open mic tonight, Mic Club at Southern Roots Park Circle, from 7:30 to 10:30. So hope to see folks out for that. What do I want to talk about today? All right, well, let's start with this. I'm creating a new setup using this Boss 505 that's over here that you can't see, and it's got cables connected to it, so it's going to be kind of hard to pull it over here to look at it. But if you can look up Boss 505 if you want to see what it looks like. And that's caused me to have to rethink my pedal board. And it's really interesting how this different technology works together. But just recently I was making the decision of going with 2 suitcase pedal boards versus one massive, awkward to move around pedal board. And the reason being is that there are many gigs where I'm not going to want to take the Boss 505 setup to it, and I want to take something smaller. And so then it's a pretty significant inconvenience to lug around the giant pedal board that's going to have things on it that I won't use at some gigs. So, but I've ultimately concluded it's just going to make more sense to just organize it really well on the big board, clean up all the cabling, because that was one of the big issues. The board just didn't look very good. So clean up the cabling, get it really well organized, and go with the big board. And I think I've figured out how to arrange it. So everything fits on nicely and looks reasonable. And it just is going to be what it is, that I have to carry this big thing around. And also another reason is it's pretty big at your feet, so it gets in the way in terms of the spacing, getting a proper spacing. Okay, here's one thing that's interesting, and I wonder how many other performers are this way. But when I set up for a gig, one thing that's really important to me and I focus on is getting my mic stand positioned exactly the way I want it. I need to get that thing like in the perfect position. And so I have like an older mic stand at this point, and it's pretty well worn in, but I like it, and I don't want to use a different one because I just know how that mic stand works. I just have a good sense of its positioning and what to expect from it. And so I have become pretty attached to my mic stand. And I wonder how many other performers have that experience. I don't spend like ages on it, but I spend a little bit of time just kind of moving it around and positioning the mic and getting a sense of I know this probably looks really weird, I want to get a sense of if I lean into the mic, how it's going to move, it, and because your positioning, as you can tell right now, if I get right up into it, it's different from out here, and so you have a very large effect or a lot of control in just how you lean into a mic, and so the position of the mic stand really is very significant. And so anyway, the pedal board's too big to the point that it gets in the way, and this all has an effect. So you want things to be as streamlined and convenient and comfortable as they can, so you move through. Your movements are very sort of precise. It's something that maybe a lot of people don't think about, because you think more about playing the guitar, and you wouldn't think maybe the position of the mic stand has so much to do, as long as you can lean in and get it to the mic. But every little way that you can make your movements more efficient or just easier, it just helps. It takes less of your focus to trying to straddle something that's not positioned well, or move in ways that are a little more difficult. You don't have to spend any of your energy or focus onto that, and you can just focus right on to what really your attention should be going to. So, on that subject, I was also thinking about things that are similar that maybe don't get thought about too much. Okay, so here's what I was talking about in the audio of my car, audio recording when I was driving. There are things that people, how to put it? I don't know how to get into this. I forget how I got into it when I was driving. All right, let's start with this. There was one thing that happened this weekend when I was playing a certain gig. I was playing at, I think, the Johns Island, the Sea Island Farmers Market, and I decided to jump into a song called Neon, the song Neon by John Mayer, for anybody that knows that song. It's a song that I learned how to play maybe a couple years ago, and it was kind of a milestone for me, or a bucket list, however you want to put it. And I learned it for myself, but I'm really happy that I have it in my toolkit now, because it's kind of it's the one song that I have that I know the general audience member is going to view it as a difficult song to play, and it is in its own way, but it's not crazy difficult. But it does take some time to learn. And when I jumped into Neon, I do so many times to try to. See, this is why I need to always talk. I shouldn't record that. I should just post that audio that I recorded in the car, because I've already gone through this in my head. I already spoke it all, and then when you go back through and you recycle it, it doesn't engage you the same way, and so then the expression of it is not as engaging the second time around. So I'll try to just jump through this and get to this song, and then I gotta get ready to go to this gig pretty soon. So, but basically, many times if I'm working with an audience that I think they need to be impressed by the technicality of something in order to be more engaged. Like, I think sometimes you deal with audiences like that they're not really going to buy in until they see you do something that they think is difficult. And so it's good to have something in your toolkit that fulfills that. And I think Neon does that. And so many times, even if it doesn't need to be an audience that's just like, really, really stingy or really grumpy, like he's not any, until you do something that kind of blows their mind in terms of the technicality of it. Even many people, it just motivates them to listen more when they've seen something that they don't necessarily understand how it can be done, or they're impressed with the difficulty of it or the technicality of it. So to have something in your arsenal that can do that is really helpful in different situations. Sometimes that's not at all what you want to go to, because it can be showboaty, or it can be taken that way, and then it works against you. But it's really nice to have. So I got the sense in this one moment where I thought, okay, I played a couple more like kid kind of songs, easy songs, sing along kind of songs, but the dad, I think, wanted to see me do something that actually was like, okay, this guy put some work in. So I went into Neon, and like it was like on cue. He's like, "Oh, that's a difficult song," and I hear that chatter out there, and then so like, yes, I got him, and then but then as soon as I'm getting into it, I'm realizing that my finger picking on today is a lot more difficult because the strings were really dry and my fingers were dry. I was outdoors and the conditions of that day were such that the strings were causing my fingers to just really stick. And it was really hard to get the kind of control that I'm used to. And that's something that I think maybe many people don't know is how much the conditions of your environment have an effect on your ability to play, to sing, or to perform an instrument on any particular day. The conditions of every day are different every day. And so it's going to be different in terms of the texture of your instrument, or in terms of the movements of your fingers, or the condition of your voice. All this is going to be different from day to day to day to day. And so there are days that are way more difficult to play than others. So when I'm jumping into Neon this time around, I hear him go, "Oh, that's a difficult song." I'm all excited, and then all of a sudden I'm like, "Oh crap, this is gonna be really hard today." And sure enough, I was not able to play it. There were different moments where I just didn't get it, and the sad thing was that the night before the conditions were really good, and so I had played it really well at a private event, but not where I had somebody just actively engaged like that. So the point being, though, as a performer, you need to know how to play in all those different conditions. And so I played enough with that particular condition where you have dry strings and dry fingers that you learn how to be able to still produce the sounds that you're trying to produce despite those conditions. And I got through it all right. And that would have been my first time ever experiencing those conditions, it would have really been tough. But I still wasn't able to get what I really wanted, but it was good enough that it was passable. So, but I think that's something really interesting to think about. I think we're probably all pretty well aware that your voice can feel different from day to day to day. But I think sometimes people may not be as aware of how different it can actually feel to play your instrument. And then as a performer, the importance you can't ever use that as an excuse. You can't be like, like if the guy's like, "Oh, that's a difficult song, it's Neon. He's playing Neon," and then I'm like kind of botching it a little bit. I'm like, "Hey, it's not my fault, man. The strings are dry. The strings are kind of sticky. My hands are sticky." He's gonna be like, "Okay, yeah, right, man. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, and he would never take. There would be nothing I could really say to convey that. And nobody's going to accept any kind of excuse in that situation. And so I think that's kind of a fundamental point of what I want to make is there are many things that happen during a live performance, things that the musician may be focused on that other people have no idea of, but can shape the impression that they have of that performance. So, for example, there are days where I just can't. What I have available to me vocally is way less than other days, and here's what I think is maybe it's a little gross, but I think it's an interesting one. When you're singing, many times you have on certain songs in particular, you have revise and enhance. Right. I'm not sure what that means, but what up, Josh? I don't know if you care to explain more about what you mean. Yeah, there are days where when you're singing certain songs in particular too, they cause you to salivate more. and it can become the experience of singing can become this game largely where you're focused on trying to find opportunities to deal with the saliva that's sort of pooling in your throat, and you're trying to find a space to do that doesn't impact the delivery of the song, and that could be a pretty significant challenge. And I don't know that most. I think probably 99.9% of people are completely unaware of that, and that's part of what you're trying to do is to keep people unaware of that, because you don't want. That's not part of the song. The song has. There's no place in most songs that's about the pooling of saliva. So, you got to try to deal with it. But that can have an impact on the delivery of this song. And this past weekend, it had an impact on the delivery of my song, where I ended up making a very strange noise into the microphone. And I just kind of had to shrug and move past it. But if I was performing a set where you had a listening room, that would have been a very unusual noise for people to listen to, and so that's just something that's interesting to think about. Sometimes when you are watching a musician perform, what they're actually experiencing internally, sometimes it's just even pushing through pain in your fingers or pushing through muscle fatigue. And that could be a lot of the focus, whereas the actual experience on the other side of listening is this emotional experience or this connection to just the sound. So I just think that's kind of interesting. But yeah, it's kind of neat as you get more and more familiar with your instrument in different conditions. And then you sort of, on any particular day, you're like, okay, today's one of these days. The strings are going to be like this. So then I'll play like this. So I'm going to play this song. This is a new song that I wrote. I'm tentatively calling it "Discover My Purpose." I hope you guys enjoy this song. I'm really excited about it. I've had a great time playing it, and maybe that's the last thing I'll say as part of this little short podcast live stream. Is it's been really exciting to play this song out live, because I feel like it's fit in so well into multiple different environments that I've played it out in. I just wrote it, and I already feel really comfortable performing it. And I played it at a wedding. I played it at multiple private events, at a farmer's market. And I just thought it cut through and sounded great in all these different environments. There are different songs that I play that I don't feel like they work in different environments, and you kind of have to find the right moments for them. And I felt like this one, I don't know, I'll keep playing it and pay attention to how I feel like it connects with people and how it sounds in different environments. But I'm really excited about it right now. So I will play this song, and then I will sign off and go exercise, practice piano, and study some Mandarin, and then go play at the Benton House, and then to Mike Club. All right, here we go. I've been so lonely my adult life, like no one understands me. This churning inside, there have been some that came along, that it seemed like they knew, but you can count the days. I'm going to start it over real quick because I forgot to switch to this. Hang on. We're going to do, there we go. Here we go. Let's do this. And I didn't like the way I started out there. Here we go. I've been so lonely my adult life, like no one understands me. This churning inside, there have been some that came along, that seem like they knew, but you can count the days till that feeling is through. So I'm left lonely every time, but maybe that's exactly the reason why I have so much to give, and I'm in love with the world the way it is. It is enough, and it's why I need to live. It's laying the foundation to discover my purpose. Discover my purpose. Now when I feel lonely, I just look around, 'cause there ain't no way I'm lonely. I think I finally figured it out. Someone to hold me, yeah, ain't what it's all about. I need to see what I can give, how I can show love to the world the way it is, and know that I'm enough. I know I need to live, and though living can feel lonely, this road is the only to discover my purpose. Discover my purpose. I thought my woman would be the key to all my doubt, but that fight's all my own, and it's one she could do without. And when I realized that I could be an answer to questions in her life, well, it's not complicated. See what you can give, how you can show love to your world the way it is, and know that you're enough. There's a reason we're here to live, and it's because we're the only ones who understand our loneliness, that we have a purpose. Yeah, we are here to give, we're here to love. It's just the way it is, and let it be enough. And the reason we need to live is because we are the only ones who can take away the loneliness. And this is our purpose. This is my purpose. There we go, it's like it. Alright. That still needs a little work, but hope you guys enjoyed this song, and hope you guys have a good day. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to post this on my podcast, The Red Circle. It'll be on Spotify and Amazon, all that. Feel free to check it out. And that's it. I'm going to get back to my day. Peace out, you guys.